We have arrived, and we're kind of stuck. Not really stuck, but I stopped while I was ahead. Oh, that's why we were spinning. That tire's in the mud. Oh yeah. Who would have thought?
It's almost like it rained an inch.
It's all night. Well, it kind of did. Well, we're back out here to the footing job like 3 weeks later, and they have finally figured out the changes for over here, so we get to relay all that out and change that with the new updated drawings. It took long enough that the grass is actually starting to grow, so that's not a great idea, but it's what it is. And it rained about 1.5 to 2 inches last night, so yeah, I'm gonna have to probably come over here with the mini, trench that where that drains out a little bit better, and then we get to relay all that out with the new changes. Go ahead and get that dug. He'll send his guys over here. They'll pump all these footings out, come in here and clean everything out back to solid ground. It's gonna take a lot of shoveling, but unfortunately that's what happens when there's a major change in the plans during this process. So let's get this unloaded and turned around. Well, 2 hours later, we got everything laid back out. And the plans had changed, but luckily Jeff had them on his phone so we could rescale everything out. So all these pier footings are now gone, and there's only a little footing there, a little pier there, a pier, and a footing right there, instead of, wasn't there like 15 piers in here? It was a lot.
Yep.
And then the bowling alley right there, all of that is getting cut down 17 inches now. We came out here, found the highest point, measure down from there. We'll undercut all that 17 inches and then come back inside of it and dig a 12-inch footing for the wall. Yeah. No, actually,
well,
no, we've got to, I just discovered another thing. We're gonna have to remeasure the wall. The footing on 3 sides is where that line is.
Correct.
The footing here is
Here's
not.
a little further in.
It's in. We need to figure in how far in.
Well, didn't we have that figured in because you were measuring off of that?
I just need to see those plans again, figure it out. I'm glad we caught that, because what we need to do is go to the end and set an offset. That way we can actually find it, because once I dig all that's going to be gone, and it's going to be hard to figure out where that goes.
Yeah.
The good thing is we've walked around enough, we've almost tilled it up enough to dry.
And I did a lot of good ciphering and figuring. I noticed you didn't have the camera on then.
No, but it was, you were right on the point.
That's all right. I play a Billy Bob on YouTube.
On YouTube.
And I'm really halfway intelligent when I'm off of it.
You were right impressive with the number crunching on the spot there. I was
quite impressed.
I was impressed. I double checked, but it worked out.
Yeah, always verify.
Things are going good. We've gotten this section right here cut out. It was a little hard going right there. That stuff is like rock hard, but I'm able to cut it out with the smooth bucket, make life a little bit easier. I'm gonna have to unplug that plastic backup beeper. That thing is annoying. But Tyler's keeping all the dirt scooped up with Jeff's skid steer and stockpiled over here in the pile. So we got to go all the way to right there and then come in here and dig a perimeter footing around that for the walls and then dig all this out. So not going to get done today like I thought. It took a lot longer to lay this new plan out than I had planned, but it is what it is. We'll make it work. Well, it was a busy day today. We've actually moved a lot of dirt. In fact, we've moved all that with the Mini. And the little skid steer that no longer...
If it doesn't work, I'm gonna be mad.
The skid steer no longer goes beep beep. I'd put $100 on that. Because I just removed the beep beep. Because I am so tired of listening to it. Ah! Right into the pile of dirt.
My name is Jeff.
Alright, so we got the bowling alley cut down to grade, and then I was able to get this footing in. A lot of rock down here, very hard clay. I think it's that Jurassic rock they call it. It took forever to get through that right there. And trying to cut this over here, every time you take a scoop, having to be offset like this, it just pulls the machine to the side, so it's very slow going. But got this cut out. We'll come back tomorrow, finish this footing up, the two ends, and then all those should go relatively easy because they're only about 12 inches, 14 inches in the ground or so. So yeah, that's that. We'll be back tomorrow to finish this up. No! You will be terminated if you plug that back together.
It's for safety reasons.
It's for safety.
I know.
If you check that, to keep your hands out of a running machinery.
I'm checking the oil.
You know how we couldn't get that apart yesterday?
Yeah.
In my haste of being pissed off, I literally pushed it and pulled that apart. You're not allowed to plug that.
Nothing to see over here.
Alright, we're back out here. Tyler wants to plug the backup beeper back in so bad. That thing is just annoyingly loud. Got the Yamaha warming up. Go over here and finish digging the footings for the bowling alley, and then jump up here and get all those done for the game room side of the house. Go figure, as soon as I set up the time lapse, I hit solid rock. I had to scratch through that. Couldn't get it. I mean, that's just as deep as the Yamaha will go right there, so I don't know what they'll have to do. They can probably pour concrete and be fine on that. Normally it's okay to pour on top of rock like that, even if you aren't to the correct depth, but I'll let them figure that one out. I've done all I can do with the Yanmar. So, got this dug. I was gonna daylight that out so that it would drain if it rained, but it's actually, we're lower than the outlet of the silt fence, so that might actually funnel water in here. I need to come over here and finish digging that footing over there, and then I'll start with all those. That thing's got a weird backup beeper. Oh gosh. And we'll start digging all these. Well, this makes a pretty good point of view up here. That's everything we did last time. The garage, it's like 80-some feet long. The house, then the breezeway that comes over here to the game room. All that's the game room, and then that's the bowling alley. Everything we spent the last day and a half cutting all that dirt out. And it's pretty much that much dirt right there. The pile came from what we cut down the hill, and then all this came from undercutting the footings and everything right there. Tyler's got a couple more passes to make. He'll grade over this, track it in. I'm gonna go ahead and get the Mini loaded up. They'll have to come over here and got some water in those footings, finish dipping that out, get in there some shovels and clean out that, and lay rebar, get all that poured.